Welcome to part 11 of our video history of Rossmoor. I'm your narrator, John Nutley. This part is entitled Changes and More Changes. The changes that occurred would affect the community for years to come. And there were many of them. The Golden Rain Foundation made changes. The mutuals made changes. The medical center made changes. There were changes in buildings and landscaping. This resulted in changes in the attitude and the opinion of the residents. We will look at First Walnut Creek Mutual first to note its changes. In previous episodes, we had talked about the problems First Walnut Creek Mutual had with the Golden Rain Foundation as its management agent. It then hired C.B. Richard Ellis to be its agent in 1986. During this period, there were several court cases. The mutual succeeded in obtaining a number of changes in the Golden Rain operation regarding financial and management services. The mutual received over $1 million in rebates from the Golden Rain Foundation for misassignment of funds. Now, in 1998, the mutual was ready to take another look at itself. There had been 7 new directors in 3 years. New leadership came to the fore. Walter Forrester, the new president, initiated a number of recommendations and changes. Robert Martin, who took my place on the board, resigned for health reasons. He was replaced by John Young. The next year, Walter Forrester resigned and moved to Texas. He was succeeded by Dorothy Christensen. She had experience in arbitration and mediation. These new directors of First gave considerable thought to changing its management services. Many of the complaints that caused the mutual's withdrawal from the Golden Rain management had been corrected. In February 2000, the board announced the planned switch to the Golden Rain the 1st of January 2001. The residents of the mutual showed a general acceptance of the change. During the intervening months, the two management services worked together to make the transition as smooth as possible. Second Walnut Creek Mutual. Compared to First, Second Walnut Creek Mutual seemed to be moving along quietly under the Golden Rain management, although it did obtain some changes in the management agreement. In 1998, the mutual began an 8-year program to improve the landscape. This program would be in addition to the regular maintenance program. The Singing Wood building that sustained a fire in 1997 was under reconstruction. It had taken over a year to complete the legal, financial, and planning decision. The actual construction of the new building was begun in late 1998. It would not be completed until March of 2000. Then the happy residents moved back into their updated homes. The Second Walnut Creek Mutual authorized $85,000 for the installation of sprinklers in the carports, the location of the fire. Water seepage and ground slippage continued to cause problems. The leadership of Leonard Hedberg and Frank Castellotti was effective in keeping the situation under control. The 2000 budget was increased. The coupon rose by $10 to cover improvement. Just as the Singing Wood building was nearing completion, a new fire broke out on Leisure Lane. Prompt attention by neighbors and the fire department limited the damage to just one manor. An old toaster was thought to be the cause. Third Walnut Creek Mutual. The mutual that experienced the most changes was Third Walnut Creek. This condominium mutual is the largest in Rossmoor. It extends from Cycrest in the northwest, around Terra Granada in the south, and up the east side to Cactus Court. The Mutual was formed for many projects from 1968 to 2000. They varied in size, age, and construction. As such, they required different amounts of maintenance. As a rule, each unit in the Mutual pays the same amount for maintenance. There are some which have special needs, such as elevators and swimming pools. This is an extra cost to those manors. Early in 1970, under the Joint Mutual Board, they developed the program of mutual shared and non-shared funds. All mutuals contributed to the fund. It was the job of the Joint Mutual Board to decide how and where the money would be spent. Non-shared expenses were directed to specific needs of a particular mutual or part of a mutual. In the Supreme Court decision relative First Walnut Creek Mutual Golden Rain controversy in 1989, the mutual sharing of expenses were not allowed. Mutual shared and mutual unshared expenses that had been denied by the court as it applied to the mutuals in general, Third Walnut Creek Mutual directors were of the opinion that this ruling did not apply within the mutual. They would continue to use the mutual's money where it was most needed. The various projects within the mutual over time began to see problems with the decision. One year, a project might have all the work done to its manners, and the next year, nothing would be accomplished. There were complaints, and by September of 1998, 15 small claim suits were filed regarding the shared concept of assessment. The concerned residents of one project received $30,000 from the mutual. Residents began to speak up about how their money should be spent. In the residents' forum in the Rossmoor News one week, there were 8 letters of complaints. The directors of the mutual sought to satisfy the residents by proposing changes in the CC&Rs. The vote failed to receive resident approval. The complaining members formed a group called Concerned Citizen. They advocated changes in the shared expenses concept. They went to court, and the judgment referred back to the 1994 decision regarding shared budgetary needs. Assessments were to be limited. More hearings were held. The Superior Court recommended a fairer settlement. Not happy with the discussions that followed, the residents filed a cross-complaint against Third Walnut Creek Mutual. In an effort to resolve the problem, the directors updated assessments on 6 projects from mutual shared to project shared budgeting. With the annual meeting drawing near, 5 candidates sought election to the board. The annual meeting was attended by noisy and upset residents, all seeking to express their concerns. There was talk of more lawsuits. The new board was faced with more projects which took exception to the shared expenses. A new group called the Rossmoor Residents for Fairness joined in complaining. The third board asked several projects how they felt about assessments to cover current and future needs. Most voted no for current repairs, but were divided on future needs. By the end of 1999, assessments for building maintenance and repairs and how they were to be paid were still unsettled issues. Several suits by resident groups were up for mediation in January and February of 2000. Mr. Richard Heineke et al. Filed a suit against Third over the assessment, asserting commingling of funds. He claimed that his group, representing some 300 manors owners, it was evident that some projects benefited more than others from shared program. Any kind of settlement would involve the transfer of money from one project's account to another. Not all had shared equally in repairs and maintenance over time. Third Walnut Creek Mutual was faced with secession. In July 2000, Project 57 considers seceding. In August, 6 additional projects containing 256 members voted to secede. There would be more secessions and changes in its government structure. It would take many years to resolve third problems. The changes that occurred in the mutuals were also reflected in the Golden Rain Foundation. While the structure of the Golden Rain Board remained the same, there were changes in the board membership and the administration. Various community facilities had not been modernized for some time. The residents and clubs were requesting additions to existing buildings and more space for cards, library, lawn bowling, tennis, and fitness. To gain more space in the Gateway complex, the first step was to move those service people who do not deal directly with the residents. They would be moved to Rockview, where the maintenance offices were located. The Recreation Department and Manor Record staff, who service the residents on a daily basis, would remain at Gateway. The golf staff had concerned for some time about the safety and management of the golf equipment. Currently, the mowers and other valuable machinery are exposed to the rain and weather. In January 1998, the Golden Rain Foundation proposed several small buildings for that purpose. A vote of the residents would be required according to the then bylaws. The residents did not consider this a priority item, and the request was denied. The trust account is the principal source of revenue for new construction. As each new manor is sold, a part of the sale price was paid to the trust fund. For each resale, the trust maintenance fund received $1,750. In 1999, the Golden Rain Foundation raised this membership fee, as it was called, to $3,550. The resale fee was also increased. It was expected that this would increase the fund some $4.5 million a year. This would give the Golden Rain Foundation $2 million for new construction. There were also changes in the Golden Rain Foundation itself. The election of April 1998 saw Al Halpern as president. He was well known for his work with the Computer Club. He was forceful and had some ideas for change. Also elected at this time was Gerald Prebat as vice president. Al Halpern was to be a controversial president. Some members of the board did not like his approach. Ben Wisner, a former president, noted for his financial skills, resigned in protest over some of Halpern's action. Len Krause was his replacement. That fall, the budget for the Golden Rain Foundation for 1999 was announced. It called for a $10.83 increase in the coupon each month. The residents were not happy. The board passed it anyway. Early in 1999, there was a sudden announcement of the resignation of Jeff Smith as general manager. It was soon revealed that he was forced out by Al Halpern. Halpern, with the support of directors Al Rogers and June Robinson, confronted Smith with the choice of resignation or being fired. The trio claimed the support of 3 other directors. When the news was released, Vice President Gerald Prebat called it outrageous and asked for Halpern's resignation. Halpern defended his actions as changes needed for efficiency. He claimed a conflict existed over board responsibilities and the management area of the general manager. Halpern went on to specify accounting errors, unreliable computers, mixed use of funds, poor operational procedures, and, quote, philosophical differences, unquote. There were other voices that claimed that Smith was fired for reasons of a, quote, purely vindictive nature and in a move to settle personality conflicts, unquote. To replace Smith, Steve Adams of the Maintenance Division was named as interim Chief Executive Officer. Steve at once began a reorganization of the staff. 12 positions were eliminated. 4 new positions were created. It was stated that this action would result in a savings of about $1 million a year. Adam proposed a new organizational structure. The key people would be Paul Donner as head of the new Mutual Operations Division. Dan Schranz would head the trust properties, which would service all of the Golden Rain Foundation properties. And Rich Chakoff would be in charge of the financial services for both MOD and the trust. In May, at the annual meeting, Al Halpern again defended his action. The board did not support him. They replaced him as president with Gerald Prebat. 3 new directors were elected: Frank Mansfield, Clyde Brenner, and Joanne McClellan. 2 of Halpern's supporters lost their seats. The following year, Halpern resigned from the board and was replaced by Nancy Bond. The new president, Gerald Prebat, began the implementation of the general plan. Some of these changes were the result of agitation by resident groups or clubs. One of the changes requested was the development of a social center to replace the inadequate Redwood Room. The bridge clubs and the library wanted more space and a permanent home. Another was a demand for a larger fitness center. As early as 1987, there was a call for a covered swimming pool. The tennis people were crowded into 2 small courts. They wanted 4 regulation-sized courts. In July of 1999, the renovation plans were revealed. It called for an outlay of $8.9 million for new construction and modification of other existing structure. The dollar pool and the cabana would be replaced. The fitness center would be enlarged. The Gateway Clubhouse would be remodeled. Later, it would be replaced to accommodate an expanded library, social center, and a room for bridge playing. Not all the work would be done at once. The board would consider each item separately. There would definitely be changes as the work progressed. The Maintenance Service Center would be expanded to accommodate the personnel from Gateway. The new building on Rockview would be completed in December, and the staff workers would move in January. It is obvious that the election of Gerald Prebat as Golden Rain president and 4 new directors had brought stability to the board, and the community of Rossmoor was ready to move forward on the proposed changes. In January 2000, Gerald Prebat and the board further refined the plans for renovation and expansion of the community's facilities. There would be an addition to our clubhouses for an expanded library, a card room, a cafe, and a larger fitness center. The plans would be developed over the coming months with input from residents and clubs. Steve Adams, now appointed Chief Executive Officer, expanded on the plans at the meeting of the Rossmoor Residents Association. In his presentation, he suggested other possibilities and asked for their ideas and support. Town hall meetings were also arranged where various proposals would be presented for discussion. It was expected that the work would take about 4 years. The payment for this work would come from new membership fees. The Golden Rain Foundation hired the architectural firm Architectural Dimensions. They would hold several meetings for resident input. The Rossmoor Medical Center had never operated on a sound financial basis. In July, the Golden Rain Foundation loaned $400,000 to the medical center. This brought renewed concern about the cost of operations. Letters in the residents' forum expressed views about spending money on a losing business. It costs the manor owners about $10 a month for medical support. even if they used some other medical facility. But the Rossmoor Medical Center would remain. The Golden Rain Foundation, in order to ease the medical center's financial burden, stopped billing for administrative services. Community of the people. There was also changes in the community that were outside the political and governmental fields. These changes were beneficial to the residents in giving them more information, making their lives easier, more beneficial, more exciting, more challenging, and more fun. Many of the activities that we talked about in previous episodes continue to be in this period and would continue into the future. One of these was Activities Day. It was an opportunity for the many clubs to come together and show off what they had to offer to new and longtime residents. All the clubs needed to add members regularly in order to maintain their existence. There were new activities as well. One that was to become a regular fall activity was the Thanksgiving food drive. This was an opportunity for all Rossmoorians to contribute to the well-being of the less fortunate. Collection barrels were placed at clubhouses where residents could drop off canned and packaged foods for the needy in the county. In 1999, over 11,000 pounds of food was collected. A new gift to the residents was the creation of a dog park near the Del Valle Clubhouse. Here one could bring a favored pet so that it could roam free of leash. It was opened in December of 1999. Women were not forgotten. The counseling service arranged for a women's conference. It was set for May of 1999. It would focus on women and their place in life, quote, to honor their strength, creativity, and spiritual vitality, unquote. It was a success that became an annual event. A government-sponsored lunch program made sure that seniors were adequately fed. For a minimal price, a full-course meal was served. To improve transportation around Rossmoor and to downtown Walnut Creek, 5 new buses were obtained through a grant from the Federal Transportation Administration. They were energy efficient and handicapped accessible. A summer favorite was a farmer's market that served the community during the summer month with fresh fruits and vegetables. Another benefit that was a joy to the housebound was the improved TV channel. Better lighting was installed for improved definition and video taping. A large 5-foot disc was installed for satellite reception. The Rossmoor channel began taping the Golden Rain Board meetings for residents who could not attend the regular meetings. The major event of 1999 was the celebration of our 35th anniversary. I had the honor to serve as its general chairman. The work began a year earlier to plan for a week of events. Each day would be a special, featuring entertainment, a meal, and a contest or exhibition. A special reception was held for the remaining few of the pioneers who came to Rossmoor during the first year of its existence. The Rossmoor News contributed a special edition with pictures and a history of Rossmoor. The outer world. There were changes outside of Rossmoor as well as inside. The globe was gone, and the area became the Walnut Creek Tice Valley Park. In a joint venture with the Jewish Community Center, a gymnasium was built for community use. In Walnut Creek, the Liberty Bell Plaza was completed north of the Broadway Shopping Center. The completion of the 680-24 interchange at Olympic in 1999 made driving north easier. To aid in reaching BART, the County Connection reorganized the bus routes to Rossmoor. People worried about what would happen to computers when the calendar turned from 1999 to 2000. All the worry turned out to be unnecessary. So as we have come to the end of this part of the video history, we note that despite all the changes, Rossmoor remains. It has become stronger and more resident-oriented. There is more to do and more places to do it. Opportunities and participation in mental, physical, social, and spiritual activities were open to all. This is our Rossmoor, and we're proud of it. Thank you for watching. This is your narrator, John Nutley, wishing you well and many happy years in our valley.